Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? John, if you would.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everyone would please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of the Honorable John Cochran, Sr. Thank you so much. Alrighty, good morning everyone. We have the public hearing this morning to consider the adoption of the 2020 operating budget and capital budget. I'd ask the town clerk, Olga Murray, to please read the hearing notice.
Good morning. Notice is given that the preliminary operating and capital budgets of the Town of Islip for fiscal year beginning January 1, 2020 have been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk at Town Hall, Islip, New York. Further notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Islip will hold a public hearing at Town Hall, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York, at 10:30 a.m. on the 7th day of November 2019 to consider adopting the 2020 operating and capital budgets. At such time, all citizens are invited to attend and provide the town board with written and oral comments concerning the town's entire proposed budget.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the board with respect to the budget, operating and/or capital, may do so now. I don't have any cards, so I'm assuming that there is no one to speak here. Then I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion or the public hearing portion is closed. I'd ask the controller to please come forward if he would just give everyone an overview and give the board members an opportunity to comment or question anything that you have. Joe, if you would. And before you begin, I just want to thank you and your staff. I know it's a long, long process, and you'll have a little bit of a breather before it'll be time to start again. But if you would just give us a little bit of an overview.
Sure. Joseph Ludwig, Controller, 401 Main Street, Islip, New York. For starters, Councilman, my condolences. And also congratulations, as well as to those who won in the elections on Tuesday. The budget you guys have in front of you is, as I kind of consistently say year in, year out, is a status quo budget. There is unfortunately not many frills, not many exciting new things in here. And it's not that the commissioners don't want to do it, and Supervisor, to piggyback off of what you said, this is a process that starts in June. I like to joke and call it Christmas time because I get to be Santa Claus as I hear all the requests from all the commissioners and the department heads, and then I get to be Scrooge because I get to take all the requests away. It's a wonderful positive and negative for me. But the process starts in June, and that's when the department heads and the commissioners have to start working on their budgets. And they understand trying to get as much done as they can without having to impact the taxes. I am happy to say that our budget is tax cap compliant. The departments have about a month or so to get me their information back, and they do give me their request in early July. And then for the rest of the summer, my staff, we don't see the light of day, and we kind of just stay in and we review everybody's budgets. In early August, we'll meet with the departments and we will reduce their requests to a point that we can make the 2020 budget work, which is where we got to today. I do appreciate you saying thank you to me and my staff, but I do have to say thank you to all the commissioners who understand they want X, I can only give B. And they have to make that work, and they have to live with that, and they do understand that, and they do a very good job in making it work with the monies that we do give them. As I said, this budget is tax cap compliant. It does have a very slight tax increase to our three major funds, which equates to about $1.50 a month. It's $18.52 a year. So again, in the time where, annually speaking, things go up, our daily cost of business goes up, we at the township are no different. We are not immune to the cost of everything going up in the world, and we have to try to find a way to make it work. And we're happy to say that, again, we were able to make it work with a very slight tax increase. Again, I hate to put it this way, to say that the budget, and I don't mean to imply that the budget is not important, but there are no new initiatives in this, save one. The town's hatchery has been taken back under our own control with the Commissioner Marty Ballou and DEC, and there are great expectations for that hatchery to produce a lot more shellfish than what we had been doing in the past. So that's the only, I don't want to say the only exciting thing, but that's probably the new thing that's in this budget. Luckily, there are revenue offsets, so it doesn't impact us as far as the tax line goes, but that's the new thing that's in this budget that has not been there in previous years. That might be the 75,000-foot view. I don't want to bore everybody. I love this stuff, but I don't get out often. So if you guys have any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Joe, and thank you for also recognizing all the department heads who really worked alongside of you. It would be a wonderful thing if we could get everything that we wanted, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
Correct.
We have to be responsible to the taxpayers, and what we've got here before us today is just that, a very, very responsible budget that puts the needs of the taxpayers first and still addressing some of the needs going forward. And also, too, to remind everybody that the capital budget is a plan, it's a planning document at this point. We're approving the overall concept of it, but when it comes time to really get into any specific projects and do the bonding, we'll have to be voting on that appropriation.
That's correct.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments for the controller?
A few.
Sure.
So, Joe, thank you very much for briefing us privately. Some of the questions I asked you privately, I'd like to get on the record and and do it publicly if we could. So, just a real quick history lesson that the state several years back passed a requirement that municipalities have their budgets be tax cap compliant.
Correct.
And in essence, the state legislation that all municipalities have to comply with, including school districts and everything else, is that it has to be roughly 2%. And each year it changes based on cost of living adjustments and things like that, right?
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other factors in there, and again, out of respect for all of you people, I will not bore you with it. But there are a lot of ins and outs, and not all municipalities are treated the same. School
Right.
districts are treated differently than us. But yes, there's all those different adjustments.
So real roughing it. It changes from year to year based on different formulas and concepts, but the rough idea is that it has to be 2% or less.
Right.
So when you say it's tax cap compliant, the overall impact on the fund from one year to the next can't be more than 2%, correct?
That's not correct. So when it comes to the tax cap, we look at every individual taxing jurisdiction we have, and it gets combined in total. So you
Right.
may have one line that goes up 40%. We don't. But let's say you have one that goes up 40%. I may have 13 others that go down by 10% each and actually have a tax decrease. So it's not just one individual line, it's everything in total.
So it brings me to my next question. So that while the increase that we have cumulatively is 3.324%, I think you had mentioned, right?
For the three major funds, yes.
It's still tax cap compliant because you combine all of the funds, and there are other issues that go into it that come to the conclusion that it's tax cap compliant, right?
Correct.
And we need to represent each year to the controller that our budget is tax cap. I think it's the controller, right? I remember as a special district commissioner, we'd need to represent that the budget is tax cap compliant by filing a form.
That's correct. I have to file online with the state controller's office. They'll receive it, accept it, and then we're set.
I remember that. So
May I just interrupt one moment? When you're talking about the percentages and everything, and all of the factors that come into it, there was a year that in order for us to be tax cap compliant, our budget increase could not have been more than 0.87%, if memory serves me right. It was less than 1%.
Yes. We had a couple years, I think.
I'm just building to the point that I want to thank you for presenting to this board a budget that is tax cap compliant. It does comply with the directives from the state that the municipalities have tax cap compliant budgets. I know I, as an elected representative, look to that. It's important for me that we comply with that, and I think it's important to my colleagues. I know one of my colleagues has publicly taken a position that she would never approve a budget that isn't tax cap compliant, so thank you for presenting that to us.
You're welcome.
nobody likes a tax increase, no matter how modest or small it is. I know comparing one municipality to another is comparing an apple to an orange.
Correct.
Completely different circumstance, but a municipality west of us just approved a budget with a very modest tax decrease. So our residents ask us, well, why can't we do that? And I've looked at this very closely, I've gone over it with you. You've shared with me that the real driver for the increase here is what we've talked about in the past. It's the personnel costs that really walk on 2 feet.
Correct.
There's nothing else special in this budget that we're approving other than collectively bargained for increases that our employees are entitled to pursuant to the collective bargaining agreement, fringe benefits increases that the employees are entitled to, and consistent with the collective bargaining agreement. And of course, a major driver is the health insurance costs that everybody has in their own homes and in their own businesses who live, work, and do business here in the town of Islip, right?
Correct.
So there's nothing sensational about the budget, and what is really driving the increase are those costs that are really fixed.
Correct. So between the salaries and the related fringe benefits that are a percentage of the salaries, if one goes up, they all go up. Health insurance, retirement costs, all those types of things, they're going up every year. So to try to balance that out with giving the departments the tools they need to continue to do the job they've been doing does get a little hairy from time to time, and luckily this year we were able to kind of pull it off.
Thanks.
With the focus in this dialogue back and forth about personnel costs, I just want everyone to keep in mind that when you compare our personnel costs across the board to other municipalities, we are certainly in the range, and I'm sad to say sometimes below the range. And why is that important? It's important because we need to have a skilled workforce, which we really are very lucky to have. And when you bring someone in and you hire them and you train them, you want to retain them because there's a cost associated with that. And when we get someone to a point where they're really being totally productive in their position and then they leave and go to another municipality, which we have had happen, we have lost some really good talent to other municipalities who are paying much more than we are. So it's important for us to keep that in mind. And also, too, to remember, when we look at the Islip Town tax bill, the check is being written out to the Town of Islip, so people sometimes, lump us all together. But if you look at that bill and you look at it carefully, you will see that in almost every instance regarding, hamlet to hamlet, the town portion, the general fund portion of the town taxes are less than certainly less than the school district, which we all know is the huge lion's share of the tax bill. But your fire district, your library district, your ambulance district, all of the special districts. So, Joe, again, to you and your staff, you've really done a fine job striking that balance that we need to have for us to move forward and deliver the services to all of the residents of this town that they truly, truly deserve.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I just have a comment. Joe, thank you very much to you and your staff for staying underneath the tax cap. We appreciate that.
That's my job, no problem.
Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion on the budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Thank you,
We
Council.
have to approve the
Oh, I'm
adjustments.
sorry, let me
to the-
just read that so we have that in place. So that we are approving the adjustments to the 2020 preliminary budget and adopting the 2020 operating budget. And we'll do operating and capital separate. So,
Motion to approve the amendments, or?
Right.
Motion.
so we had the motion from Councilman Bergen.
Second.
Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. And now we have the capital budget before us. A motion to adopt the 2020 capital budget. Motion by Councilman Cochran. And second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. And that is all the business we have before us. Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. And again, thank you very, very much.